Does the White House still view inflation as transitory?
That is the view of the Federal Reserve and outside economists, and they all continue to project it will come down this year.
President Biden is trying to label this Putin's price hike. But most Americans, according to an NBC News poll, are not buying that. Only 6% blame Putin. Most believe President Biden's policies are very much to blame.
The first bus of migrants arrived in D.C. today. Texas Governor Greg Abbott making good on his promise to send migrants to the president's doorstep. I think you previously called it a publicity stunt. Is that still the view of the White House? Can you give us any reaction to this busload of migrants arriving here in D.C.?
Well, these are all migrants who have been processed by CBP and are free to travel, so it's nice the state of Texas is helping them get to their final destination as they await in their outcome of their immigration proceedings. And they're all in immigration proceedings.
About how the governor of Texas said, I've got all these buses and we can't handle all these illegal immigrants, so we are going to offer them free rides to D.C. if they want to get on one of these buses and join their family or go into D.C. and not stay in Texas. This is the first bus that we have seen that is rolling into Washington.
Waiting to get admission into our country the right way. And because of the spat between the governor and the president, we're getting a whole bunch of people who just got a free bus ride right to Washington, D.C. on a beautiful spring day. So what lesson is that if you're watching in Mexico, Central America, Russia? Seems like fun.
When they get here, are you guys going to help them find a place to stay and something for them to do?
Well, I'm not aware of what authority the governor would be doing that under. I think it's pretty clear this is a publicity stunt. His government, not a state.
Washington, D.C.?
Well, listen, I don't know, but I know that the governor of Texas or any state does not have the legal authority to compel anyone to get on a bus.
We're here in the food court at Union Station where a lot of them have been getting something to eat because this was a 34-hour bus ride, which they did tell me that they received food and drinks, but it's been a very long journey, and now they're going to be departing to other destinations. Tienes, how old are you?
26.
26. Okay. 26 years old.
Miami.
So their final destination is Miami. They've been carrying these folders. They have already been processed by DHS. That's been part of the agreement, but this is just one of the very few buses, one of the first buses, rather, to arrive here in the Capitol. I am told by people on the ground that they are expecting another one tomorrow.
But right now they're in D.C., home of a lot of lawmakers who you would think might be using that train station. Have you heard from lawmakers about what they think about these buses arriving?
You know, it's interesting. The White House responded to this, calling it a publicity stunt. But some Republicans have actually struck out against this, calling it a gimmick.
Producer price index on inflation came out at the highest level that they've had in the history of recording these events. This is the price that companies are paying for the materials that they need to make the stuff that they sell, right? So with the last 2 days, the inflation reports, does the White House believe that inflation has now peaked and we're coming back down, or because of these reports, do you think we're going to see even worse numbers in the future?
We'll let the Federal Reserve make projections about that. They have the purview over those projections. What I will say is that when we talked about this over the last couple of days as it relates to the CPI data, Consumer Price Index, as opposed to Producer Price Index for others, projections of when we're hitting a height and where it will look, we will leave that to the Federal Reserve.
So does the president then acknowledge any responsibility for the inflation that we're seeing now based on the decisions that he's made when he came into office?
Well, I would say, as the president has talked about quite a bit, there are a range of factors in supply chains, and we've had a lot of success moving more equipment and goods through ports, et cetera.
Take responsibility for his decisions, like some say the American Rescue Plan boosted demand when it didn't need to. Larry Summers was one of those.
Well, the alternative would have been that we would have gone into a massive economic downward spiral, and many Americans would have not had enough food to put on the table. So we chose the other path.
The rising cost of everyday life in this country, new numbers confirming what we already know. Inflation is skyrocketing, reaching a 41-year high. We're getting a sense of exactly how much it is costing the average American family.
We are seeing higher prices for everything, for food, for housing, for used cars. But the biggest driver of this last month, energy, fuel, gas prices. Now, the Biden administration is adding more ethanol into the summer blend, hoping that will, in fact, help drive down gas prices. The bottom line, though, experts say the impact may be minimal. Inflation is skyrocketing, hitting 8.5% last month, the highest since 1981. But adding more ethanol may have a limited impact, since only 1.5% of gas stations nationwide actually carry E15. It's not just energy prices that are fueling inflation. Food is up 8.8% year over year, the biggest annual increase in 41 years. One expert noting it's costing the average household $327 more per month to purchase the same goods and services as last year. A gallon of milk has climbed 57 cents, eggs up 42 cents, and a pound of ground beef 49 cents higher.
You know, everything else is going up too, but that's meat. That is the biggest price hikes I'm seeing.
Meanwhile, as airlines gear up for the summer season, domestic tickets are now averaging $342 round trip. That's up 35% from last year.
That you may be leaving soon. How will you like to be remembered as White House press secretary?
Well, one day I will not be here, either to spend time with my kids or because the president fires me, hopefully not the latter. At that point, I'm sure I can reflect on that. Community. With that, let's get to your questions. I'll promise to reduce the toppers next time. That's my deal. Go ahead.